July 22nd, 2025, 11:54 p.m. The river does not have a face, but I feel it watching me through the slatted window. The air is the kind that presses a palm to your chest and waits thick, warm, and humming with crickets and faraway mopeds. A gecko clicks somewhere in the beams above my bed like a small machine that never breaks. The ceiling fan turns and turns without cooling anything, just carving circles in the heat. I promised myself I would sleep early. First day tomorrow. New teacher orientation at the private language center, a few districts north of Bangkok. I had practiced my greeting in Thai on the ferry, drawing quiet smiles from the old women who sold fragrant garlands and grilled squid near the pier. They corrected my tones gently. I laughed, bowed, repeated, and told myself, I am really here. The landlord's house is built of dark wood that has known rain for a long time. My room is on the second floor, down a narrow hall that gives and creaks under my steps. When I slide the window lattice open, I am 10 meters from the river's slow skin. A shrimp boat passes without lights, guided by something the pilot knows, and I do not. The wake becomes ropes of silver under a swollen moon, then unravels and is gone. There is a sketch on the wall above the little writing desk, drawn in charcoal and framed cheaply. Its glass slightly fogged at the corners. It is of the same river, seen from the same angle. A low pavilion on the far bank, a banyan whose roots look like hands, and a woman standing on the near bank with her hair falling straight down her back. She faces the water. She holds something close to her chest that might be a cloth bundle or a child. The artist did not bother with detail, but the suggestion is clear enough that I find myself stepping closer and then stepping back. I hear the floor shudder, a soft knock of cups downstairs, and the landlord's daughter laughing high, quick, then cut short, as if a hand covered her mouth. When I met them earlier in the evening, the landlord told me his name and the price and the rules. No shoes upstairs, no guests after 10 p.m., no cooking inside the rooms because of fire. You want coffee? He asked, and brought me a glass of something sweet and iced with a smile that said he already knew I would say yes. Before I climbed the stairs with my suitcase, the daughter had leaned around the doorway and looked at me the way teenagers look at stray dogs, curious, cautious, slightly pleased that the day was not yet finished, offering surprises. Teacher, she said in English, and then in Thai that I understood only halfway. The window closed at night. Her father frowned. She shrugged and disappeared. He apologized with his eyes. It is near the river. He said, mosquito. Now I try the latch. It works, but the wood is old. A slit remains, a breath of outside. I do not mind. I have grown up with American screens that tidy the world into rectangles. This room does not tidy anything. It admits it. Out there, the river moves. In here, I am a guest. I take the small notebook I carry whenever I start new work in a new city. Page 1. I always write the same question. What do you think you know, and what do you want to learn? Tonight, I scribble answers that look obedient and shallow. Class size, names, how they pronounce my name, where to buy a decent ironed shirt, how to not offend. Then something less obedient. What does this place remember that I do not? I do not realize I have written the last line until I see it. I put the notebook away. The landlord has left a woven basket with folded towels and a bar of jasmine soap. He has also left a battery-powered lantern for when the river sulks and the power lines follow its mood. I click it once to see the light bloom. My reflection in the window blooms with it. A tall American man in his 30s, hair flattened from the ferry wind, a face that looks both too pale and too red. The river behind me becomes a dark panel. My eyes float a second before they find themselves and lock. "Welcome," I say softly to no one, and hear my voice catch on the gecko's click. It is not fear. It is the sense that I have opened a door by knocking on another one. Travel does this. It rearranges your furniture when you sleep. What belonged to you in Denver or Portland or wherever you told yourself you once belonged does not belong to you here. And that is the point. Let it be strange. I tell myself, teach your mouth new shapes. The shrine at the stair landing holds a photograph of the landlord's parents. Marigolds fall in a circle around a small cup, half full of clear water. When I came up earlier, I bowed because I have learned that you bow at these places even if you do not know precisely how to bow. And the landlord saw and nodded in a way that said this was the right awkwardness. Now, at almost midnight, the cup catches a bit of moonlight and becomes a tiny white square you can drink with your eyes. Something bumps the side of the house. Not hard, not enough to startle, just long enough to make the fan's chain tremble. I wait for the second bump that would explain the first. It does not come. The river gives the sound back, thinner, like coin against glass. I think of the daughter saying, "Close the window." I think of her making a joke and then not making it. I think of the way the landlord said mosquito, but meant you are new. And there are doors you should not open just because you do not see them. I close the window completely and work the latch until the wood sighs and accepts it. The slit is gone. Sleep comes in pieces. The fan hums me down to the first shelf, and then the distant music from a boat lifts me up again. A dog barks. A chorus of frogs takes the dog's cue and replies until the dog gives up or falls in love. I roll and feel the bed's teak ribs under the thin mattress like a xylophone under a blanket. Just before I slip under for good, I hear it. A woman's voice, quiet as a lullaby, heard through walls. Not a song I recognize. Not a melody you could write, but a rising and falling like breath against a cradle. It is not inside the house. It is not in the hall. It is where the river keeps its coolness. I lie still and count, as if the counting could disguise my listening even from myself. 1, 2, 3. The voice moves. It does not approach so much as widen. It learns my name without asking, the way rivers learn the shape of their banks by pressing them every day. I tell myself it is a mother at the water washing laundry late, or a temple recording, playing from the opposite bank, or a mistake of the night, insects stitched together into human shape because the brain is a weaver and will weave. I am a teacher, not a child. I am a guest. I will not open the window just to prove that no one is there. The voice goes on. It does not say words I can translate, but the syllables are soft and the pauses precise. That is what stays with me. The precision, as if whoever is singing has done this many times and is careful not to wake something that does not sleep like we do. At 12:20 a.m., I sit up, swing my feet to the floor, and stare at the closed lattice. I breathe through my nose until the air slows down. I whisper to the darkness, the thing I always whisper, when the world is larger than I am ready to admit. I hear you. The gecko clicks once, twice, pleased or angry. The fan chain sways and is still. By 12:35 a.m., the lullaby thins the way a thread thins if you walk with it in your hand and do not notice until it snaps. When it goes completely. The silence feels heavier than sound. Lie back down and tell myself, in the morning, I will ask the landlord if there is a temple across the water that plays night music for the dead or for the living. I will ask if there are night markets that float and do not sleep. I will ask if his daughter likes to scare foreigners who do not know the difference between a warning and a story. Sleep takes me in one motion like a boatman who has been waiting with the rope loose in his hand. If I dream, the dream has no edges I can carry back, only the feeling of wood under bare feet, and the smell of river water warming against skin I think is mine. When I wake at 6:20 a.m., the charcoal sketch above the desk has fogged a little more. The glass holds a milky film from the dawn. The woman in the drawing stands where she stood. The bundle in her arms is shaped now so clearly like a baby that I wonder if the artist came in the night and finished it. I stand at the window and unlatch it and let the morning in. The river has a different face in daylight. Children laugh somewhere behind the house. A ferry approaches from the left, painted green and white, crowded with scooters and men in collared shirts, and a monk whose robe is bright as a spill of saffron. On the far bank, beyond the pavilion, the banyan's roots look like hands again. On this bank, the mud shows a thin line of prints too small for me. They begin near the stairs that lead down to the water and end at nothing, as if their maker learned to step on light. I tell myself they are yesterdays. I tell myself the tide is a magician and loves to falsify endings. I dress and smooth the shirt that does not want to be smooth and practice the greeting I will say to the other teachers. Sawat di krub. Swat di krub, I whisper, and the room gives the sound back. Before I leave, touch the frame of the charcoal drawing with one finger as if it were a doorbell. It is cool, and the coolness feels earned. At the top of the stairs, the shrine's water cup is full to the lip. I do not remember it being that full. I bow anyway. It is a good kind of awkwardness, the kind that teaches more than it asks. Outside, the river moves as if nothing moves it. Somewhere, underneath the fan's lazy breath and the gecko's patient machine, the lullaby goes on without sound, like the shape a song leaves in the air after it ends. July 23rd, 9:42 a.m. The morning makes a liar out of the night. What was river black and endless hours ago is now a simple muddy brown, busy with long-tail boats chugging between banks, men in rolled trousers casting nets that glitter briefly before vanishing under the surface. Dogs bark in daylight, as if nothing in the world could frighten them. A child runs past with a bag of sweet buns, powdered sugar trailing him like dust. I sip bitter Thai coffee from a glass that sweats instantly in the heat. The landlord insists I eat rice for breakfast, and I do, because his hospitality is the kind that does not allow polite refusals. His daughter avoids my eyes now, her hair pulled tight, her mouth pressed in a line that could be a smile or not. The old man arrives just after breakfast. He is not family, but the way the landlord rises from his seat and bows his head tells me he is respected. His skin is drawn tight over his bones. His hair, a scatter of white strands that catch the sun like fishing line. He lowers himself cross-legged on the floor with the effort of someone who has carried more years than belongings. The landlord introduces him as Lung Presert, Uncle Presert, though I understand the title is more affection than blood. The old man peers at me, eyes clouded not with blindness, but with memory, as if I am something he half remembers from another season. "You sleep well?" he asks in slow English. His voice creaks like the stairs at night. I hesitate, then nod. Well enough. He watches me until I look away. The landlord's daughter brings him tea, sets it gently in his hands. Only when she is gone does he speak again. In Thai this time, and the landlord translates. He says the river sings. I shift in my chair. Yeah, I heard. The landlord raises his hand before I can finish. He translates again, his voice lower now. He says it is not a song you must follow. It is a call, and the call is not for you. The old man takes a long sip of tea, his hands shaking slightly but steady enough to keep from spilling. Then, in English, clear and careful, "Do not answer her." The words land between us, like stones dropped into a bucket. He leans forward, and the landlord does not translate this time because I understand it all. Mae Nak. The name tastes foreign in my mouth, but familiar in his. He speaks as if the air already knows the story. His voice bends and twists, full of years. Long time ago, he begins. She lived here, a woman with hair black like the river at night. She died giving birth while her husband fought in war. But love, he pauses, the word dry on his tongue. Love is strong, sometimes stronger than death. She waited. She carried the child even after the grave. She waited by the river for her husband to come home. He lifts his eyes, and I cannot tell if he is looking at me or through me. They say when he returned, she greeted him, cooked for him, slept beside him. He did not know she was gone. Only the neighbors saw her walking at night, her body too long, her hands stretching further than they should. The baby, silent in her arms. The landlord coughs, tries to change the subject, but the old man does not allow it. His words grow sharper, faster. Though his voice never rises, she waits still for the husband who does not return. Sometimes, when a stranger comes, she mistakes him for the man she loved. She sings to him, calls him, binds him. The landlord's daughter reappears in the doorway, her face pale. She shakes her head quickly, as if begging her father to end the story. But the old man has one more gift to give. He leans close enough that I can smell the bitter tea on his breath. His voice falls to a whisper. If she calls your name, do not look. He presses a dry palm against mine, and I feel the weight of it longer than any handshake should allow. The river outside groans against the stilts again, as if to agree. July 23rd, 11:29 p.m. The night is louder when you are waiting for it. I lie on the bed, mosquito net pulled down, the fan turning slow circles above me. I have kept the window latched as the landlord asked, but I can still hear the river pressing its weight against the stilts. The wooden frame of the house groans in reply, like old friends arguing in whispers. I tell myself I will sleep, that I will not listen. But listening is all I do. The old man's words echo in my head. If she calls your name, do not look. I want to laugh at it, to shrug it away, as village superstition. But the laugh never comes. Instead, I lie in the dark with my eyes open, rehearsing the way a voice could slip through the night without touching the air. And then it begins, soft, thin, not even singing at first, just a hum, a thread that could belong to crickets or wind. But the thread pulls taut, shapes itself into melody. The same lullaby I heard the night before. This time, there is no mistaking it. A woman's voice, low, steady, almost tender. I press the pillow over my head. The sound passes through cotton as if it is nothing. The voice swells, not in volume, but in presence. It is as though the house itself hums along, the floorboards vibrating in sympathy. I imagine her, whoever she is, standing at the waterline, her feet lost in mud, her arms curled around the weight of a child. The song rocks the river rocks the house, and me, caught between, rocking with both. My heart slams when I hear it. My name, clear, carved into the melody as if it belonged there all along. The syllables roll soft but certain. Daniel. I sit up, my breath thin, my skin prickled. The window is still closed, the latch still holding, but the sound leaks through anyway. Daniel. The voice is closer now, not across the river, not in the trees, here, by the stilts, under the floor, just outside the wall. I cannot move. The mosquito net sways as though touched by a wind that does not exist. Slowly, too slowly, I turn my head toward the window. A thin slit of moonlight slips through the wood, silvering the desk, the charcoal sketch above it. The woman in the drawing has not moved, but I feel her eyes shift when mine do. The song continues. The syllables crawl under my skin. Daniel, come back. The net trembles. My breath clouds the air, though the heat has not left. I tell myself, do not answer. Do not look. The voice rises again, patient, pleading. Daniel, my husband. The word breaks me open. I grip the bed frame so hard my knuckles ache. Forcing myself to stay still, I stare at the ceiling until my vision blurs. The gecko clicks once, sharp, as if to remind me it too is listening. The lullaby fades by degrees, pulled back into the river's throat. When silence finally falls, it is heavier than the sound itself. I do not sleep. I sit upright until dawn, watching the light creep into the cracks of the room, afraid that if I close my eyes, she will step through them. July 24th, 2:41 a.m. Sleep does not come like it used to. When it arrives broken shards of pictures pressed together by the heat, images that feel older than me. I dream of a village that is not the one outside my window, but close enough to be its shadow. Houses on stilts stand crooked against a river swollen with rain. Oil lamps burn low, their flames shaking as if afraid of the dark they are supposed to hold back. And she is there. She moves between the houses, her bare feet leaving no sound on the wooden planks. Her hair clings to her back as if it has never dried. The child in her arms is wrapped tight, its face hidden, its silence heavy. She does not look at me. Not at first. She only hums the lullaby, the one I now carry in my bones. I follow, though I do not remember choosing to. My body walks without asking. The river bends around us, a black vein glinting under a cracked moon. When she finally turns, the world halts. Her eyes are wide and dark, but not empty. They are searching. They are certain. She calls me by name again. My name. Daniel. But in the dream, it is not strange, not foreign. It fits me, the way a shirt worn too long begins to feel like skin. And then I hear her say another name, soft, in Thai. Mac. I wake with the sound still wet in my ears. The fan above me groans. The room smells of river water, damp and metallic. My shirt clings to my back as though I had been standing outside in the rain. I check the window. Still locked. The sketch above the desk seems darker than before. The lines heavier, as if someone added charcoal while I slept. The woman's bundle looks less like a blur now, more like a shape with weight, with limbs. At breakfast, I asked the landlord, careful, who is Mackie? He looks at me too quickly. His daughter freezes, the rice spoon hovering in her hand. The silence that follows is heavier than the answer could ever be. When the landlord finally speaks, his voice is clipped, his eyes lowered. Mac was her husband. The word was sits in my chest long after the meal ends. July 24th, 11:58 p.m. I told myself I would not go outside. That was the rule, wasn't it? Do not look. Do not answer. But rules are thin things when you are alone in a room that hums with someone else's voice. The lullaby came again tonight, softer than the night before, but closer, so close it felt as if it were inside the walls, inside my chest. Each syllable was weight. Each pause was a hand tugging me forward. I held out for as long as I could, sat on the bed, fists clenched, repeating to myself in English, in Thai, in silence, do not move, do not look. And yet, sometime before midnight, I found myself unlatching the window. The night air rushed in, damp and heavy, carrying the smell of mud and rain and something faintly sweet, like bruised jasmine petals left too long in water. The river shifted below, black and glistening, alive in a way that rivers should not be. That is when I saw her. She stood at the edge of the water, just beyond the stilts of the house. The moon revealed her in fragments, the pale oval of her face, the shine of her wet hair, the shimmer of silk stretched too tight across her thin frame. She held the bundle close to her chest, swaying gently as though the weight breathed with her. Her song did not break when she lifted her head. Her eyes found me in the window, as if she had always known where I would be. And she smiled. It was not joy. It was not kindness. It was recognition. Her free hand reached out, fingers long, impossibly long, the joints bending in ways they should not. The air between us felt like water, thick and pulling. Daniel, she whispered. The word folded itself into the lullaby. Come home. My body lurched forward against the window frame, knees trembling. For one dizzy moment, I believed I knew her, that she was not a stranger at all, but someone I had left waiting for too long. The gecko above my head clicked sharply, breaking the spell. I stumbled back. The room spun. When I looked again, the bank was empty. The river moved as if it had never been still. But the window lattice was damp beneath my fingers, and on the floorboards below the window, there was a smear of mud shaped like the edge of a bare foot. July 25th, 12:24 a.m. The mud stain has not dried. I scrubbed it with a towel until the cloth came away brown. But the mark lingers, pressed deep into the wood, like the river itself left a memory inside the house. I should have locked the window and buried myself under the net. But the song does not let me. It coils around the beams of the room, humming in my chest, as if my own breath belongs to her. Tonight, I sit by the desk. The charcoal sketch looms above me. The woman's bundle is no longer a blur. Limbs hide beneath the shading. The faint curve of a head. Each time I glance at it, I swear her hair spills further across her shoulders. And then her voice begins. Daniel. The name is soft, folding itself into the lullaby. The window lattice rattles once, though no wind moves. I tell myself, not real, not for me. But then her song changes. The syllables bend, thick and heavy, in a language I cannot claim to know. One word emerges, stretched, tender, foo. The sound claws through me. I do not speak Thai, but the meaning lands inside me all the same. Husband, my stomach twists. My hands clutch the desk edge until my nails ache. She is not calling Daniel. She is not calling Mackie. She is calling me. The window shakes again. My eyes rise against my will. She is there, closer than before, pressed against the shadowed wall of the house, her face pale as river foam, her smile gentle loving, even as though nothing in the world could harm me if I stepped outside. Her arms rock the bundle, its silence louder than any cry. Foo, she whispers again, the words soaking into my skin. Her free hand rises, palm open, beckoning me. For a moment, I believe her. I believe I have been here before, that I once belonged to her, that perhaps I am not only myself, but someone who promised to return. The gecko shrieks from the rafters, a sharp, tearing sound. I flinch. The moment breaks. Her smile falters. Her arm stretches unnaturally long, nails scraping against the wood, leaving thin grooves in the frame. The bundle in her other arm shifts too heavy, too still. And then silence. The river swallows her whole. The window is empty, but the towel I left on the floor is wet again, damp, fresh, smelling of the river. July 25th, 9:11 a.m. The village feels different after a night like that. Every face looks at me too long. Every glance lingers, as if measuring something I cannot see. At breakfast, the landlord's daughter will not step into the room. She places the tray at the doorway and vanishes before I can thank her. When I try to catch her eye, she lowers her head, as if ashamed or afraid. The landlord watches me stir rice porridge I have no appetite for. Finally, he mutters a single word under his breath. Mac. I look up. He pretends he did not say it. Later, as I walk through the narrow lanes, children trail behind me, whispering. They do not say foreigner, the way children usually do. They say another name, soft, rhythmic, giggled into their palms. Mac, Mac. By the riverbank, an old woman selling incense stares at me until I buy something I do not need. Her eyes are wet, but her voice is steady when she says in Thai, I almost understand. You came back. I freeze. No, you're mistaken. But she only shakes her head, presses the incense into my hand, and points toward the water. That night, I cannot eat. I sit on the balcony, incense burning low beside me, smoke curling into the humid air. The river lies flat and dark, holding its breath, and in that silence, the thought takes root. What if they're right? The dreams, the song, the way her eyes locked onto mine through the window. None of it feels like chance. What if I am not Daniel? Not only Daniel, what if I have worn another name, another life, and forgotten it until now? The villagers' whispers circle me like moths to a lamp. Their voices say what I do not want to say aloud. You are Mac. You are the husband she waits for. The gecko clicks on the beam above me, sharp and fast, like it wants to drown out the thought. But it is too late. The thought is inside me now, humming with the river's current. When the lullaby returns, I do not cover my ears. This time, when she sings Pua outside my window, I feel my lips move before I can stop them. I whisper back. July 25th, 11:59 p.m. The air is too still. Even the frogs are silent tonight, as if they know who is coming. The lullaby begins softer than ever, but it does not drift this time. It aims, it threads itself straight into my bones, into my breath, into the rhythm of my heart. Each note is a pull, each pause, a hand. I cannot stay inside. The walls lean against me, pressing me out. By the time I realize, I am already unlatching the door and stepping down the groaning stairs. The earth is damp beneath my bare feet. The mud remembers every step, holding me longer than it should, as if the river itself wants to claim me piece by piece. And there she is, Mae Nak. She stands at the water's edge, the moon hanging behind her like a lantern lit just for this moment. Her long hair spills across her shoulders, darker than the river itself. The silk of her dress glimmers faintly, clinging to a body too thin, too still. In her arms, the bundle rises and falls as if breathing, though no sound escapes it. She does not startle when I approach. She only sways, rocking her child. Her smile soft as smoke. Foo. The word is no louder than the rustle of leaves, but it cuts through me like thunder. I feel myself nod before I think, as though the word is not a call, but a reminder. Her eyes glisten with a tenderness that terrifies me more than any scream. She steps closer, the mud not clinging to her feet, the water not wetting her hem. She reaches out her hand, long, too long. Fingers bending in places fingers should not bend. I should run. I should pray. Instead, I step forward. Her palm brushes mine cold, wet. The chill of river stones pulled from the depths. The moment her touch finds me, the air shatters. The night explodes with the cries of frogs, dogs, insects, everything alive screaming at once. Her smile widens. Her nails dig into my skin. Not enough to tear, but enough to claim. The bundle shifts. For the first time, I hear it. Not a baby's cry, but the thud of something heavy, hollow, like stone inside cloth. The ground beneath my feet softens. The river rises without moving, its surface lifting to meet me, to take me. The last thing I see before the darkness folds over is her face, no longer gentle, no longer tender. Her jaw stretches too wide, her teeth small and sharp as broken shells. And then the water swallows everything. July 26th, 6:12 a.m. The rooster's call pulls me awake, but I do not remember falling asleep. My clothes cling to me, damp, heavy, as though I spent the night swimming. The bed sheets are soaked through, smelling faintly of silt and jasmine rot. When I swing my legs to the floor, mud smears across the boards. Thick, dark, fresh. The towel I left yesterday lies there again wet, dripping as if it has just been lifted from the river. The landlord knocks before I can hide it. He opens the door, his face pale, his eyes darting past me to the stains on the floor. For a moment, he says nothing. Then, "You went out." It is not a question. I stammer, "I don't remember." He doesn't answer. He leaves the door open. Through it, I see villagers gathered outside, whispering, pointing toward the riverbank. I follow. My steps are unsteady, but my body moves as if drawn by a rope. The mud at the water's edge is patterned with prints, bare feet, small and delicate, walking back and forth in circles. But there are larger prints too, mine, leading straight into the water. The trail ends there. No return prints, no evidence I ever walked back. And yet here I am, standing among them, breathing, shivering in the heat. The old man, Uncle Presert, steps forward. He looks at me, then at the river, then back again. His lips tremble as he speaks. "She let you go." The crowd murmurs. Some nod, some back away. The landlord's daughter hides behind her father's arm, her eyes wide, as if she sees more than the rest. I want to tell them they are wrong, that I stayed in my room, that I never touched the river, that I never touched her, but my palm still burns where her hand pressed mine. When I spread my fingers, 4 faint grooves cross the skin marks, too deep to be scratches, too shallow to be wounds, and I know the truth they already fear. The river did not let me go. It sent me back. July 26th, 10:34 p.m. The house feels smaller tonight. The walls lean closer. The beams creak as though they are listening, waiting for me to move. The sketch above the desk no longer looks like a drawing. It looks like a mirror tilted slightly wrong. I stare at the figure in charcoal, the woman holding her child. Her hair spills further now, nearly covering her face. And the man who once stood beside her, faint lines, I swear, were not there before, has my shoulders, my jaw, my slant of brow. I whisper to myself, "I am Daniel. I am Daniel." But the echo in my head comes back different. The dreams no longer wait for sleep. They spill into the daylight, crowding the edges of my sight. When I walk through the village, I see faces blurred, houses bending into older shapes, men carrying swords instead of mobile phones. The incense smoke from the shrines coils thicker, clinging to me as if it recognizes me. The old women no longer whisper. They bow. They set down offerings of rice and lotus at my feet. I want to shout at them, to tell them they are wrong, that I am not their Mac. But when I open my mouth, the words falter, as if my tongue has been trained in another life. Uncle Presert stops me by the river. His voice is low, meant for me alone. "She will not let you leave. You look too much like him. You carry his shadow." I shake my head, but the water's surface betrays me. In its reflection, I do not see the man I know. The face staring back has softer eyes, darker skin tanned by fields, a scar across the chin I do not remember ever earning. And behind me, in the reflection only, she stands, Mae Nak. Her hand rests on my shoulder as though it has always belonged there. Her lips curve into that gentle smile. And when she whispers "Fuha," I hear it not as a stranger's voice, but as a memory I had forgotten until now. For a moment, I believe it. I believe I am Mac. I believe the war ended long ago, and I am finally home. Then the gecko shrieks above the doorway, splitting the trance. I stumble back, the reflection scattering into ripples. But even as the image fades, the weight of her hand remains on my shoulder, cold, unseen, unshakable. July 27th, 4:45 p.m. The whispers no longer stay behind me. When I walk through the market, people step aside, pressing palms together, bowing low. Some refuse to meet my eyes. Others mutter prayers into their fists, as though my shadow might cling to them. By dusk, the landlord insists I follow him to the temple. He does not ask. He grips my arm with a force I would not expect from a man his age, and he leads me through winding lanes until the golden roof rises above the trees. The monks are waiting. Their saffron robes blaze against the dimming sky, their faces calm but tight at the edges, as though holding back storm winds. One of them, older than the rest, steps forward with a string of white cotton in his hands. He studies me for a long time before speaking. His voice is low, steady, carrying a rhythm that feels older than the language itself. The landlord translates in fragments. You are caught between two names, two lives. She holds you. She believes you are Mac. If you believe her, you will not leave. The monk loops the cotton string around my wrist, tying it 3 times. His fingers are cool, certain. When he knots it, the gecko, hidden in the rafters, clicks once, as though approving. The chant begins. The monks' voices weave together, deep and resonant, filling the temple until the air vibrates. My skin prickles. The string tightens, not by the monk's hand, but by something unseen pulling against it. And then her voice, not from the river, not from outside, from within the temple walls. Phra. It slides through the chanting like a blade. My chest contracts. The bundle of incense sticks in the offering bowl snaps in half with a sound too loud for so small a thing. The monks chant louder, their voices rising, forcing her back. The cotton string burns against my wrist. I stumble, clutching the knot, my knees buckling on the polished floor. In the corner of my eye, the shadows stretch long, too long, and in them I see her shape, Mae Nak, swaying, the bundle in her arms trembling as though it wants to break free. She does not scream. She only sings, her lullaby twisted now, each note a hook sinking deeper into me. The old monk slams a brass bowl onto the ground. The vibration rattles my teeth. He shouts a final phrase, voice sharp enough to cut the air. The shadow collapses. The song shatters. Silence. But when I look down at the cotton string, it is frayed to nothing. The knot is gone. And across my wrist, faint but raw, 4 grooves glow where her nails had touched me. July 27th, 11:57 p.m. The chanting still hums in my ears when I lie down. Though the temple is miles away, I clutch my wrist where the cotton string should be. But only the 4 grooves remain. Darker now, red as if freshly carved. The monk said she was gone, but the river does not keep promises. The night is quiet at first, so quiet I almost believe them. The fan turns lazily. The gecko shifts above the beam. My body begins to unclench. And then, the lullaby, not drifting from the river, not muffled by walls. Inside, I sit upright, breath caught in my throat. The sound is not outside the window, not beneath the stilts. It is in the room, circling me like smoke. The mosquito net sways, though no wind stirs. Shadows ripple against the desk, stretching too far, bending where they should not. The charcoal sketch above it is darker than ever. The figure of the woman now faces forward. Her eyes are no longer smudges of charcoal. They gleam. The lullaby stops, and in the silence, a whisper blooms right beside my ear. Foo. I whip around. She is there, standing between me and the window lattice, her body pale, her hair wet, her dress clinging to her like river weeds. The bundle in her arms hangs heavy, too heavy, its cloth darkened with damp. Her eyes meet mine. No anger, no malice, only love terrible, suffocating love. You came back, she breathes. Her free hand reaches toward me. This time I cannot move, cannot pull away. The grooves on my wrist throb as her fingers hover above them, ready to close, ready to claim. The gecko shrieks from the rafters, its cry sharp as breaking glass. Mae Nak's face twists, her smile stretching too wide, her jaw unhinging in silence. The bundle jerks violently once, twice, as though something inside wants out. I fall back onto the bed, tangled in the net. She leans forward, pressing against it, her hand sliding through the mesh as if it were water. Her nails graze my skin, cold, certain. And in that moment, I understand. The ritual did not drive her away. It opened the door wider. July 28th, 2:05 a.m. The bed disappears. The mosquito net dissolves. When my eyes open, I am no longer in the wooden house by the river, but in a field, wet with rain and mud. Shouts echo around me. The clang of blades. Men in loose cotton uniforms charge across flooded paddies, their torches sputtering in the storm. My chest heaves as though I have been running for hours. My hands grip a spear, its shaft slick with sweat and blood. I blink. The rain blinds me. When it clears, I see the scar on my hand. A scar I do not have. A scar I know. Mac. The name rolls through the ranks. Shouted. Urgent? Men call to me. Not Daniel, but Mac. I stumble forward, carried by feet that remember a path I have never walked. The war surges around me, then melts away as if pulled by unseen hands. The field fades into wood, into the smell of jasmine, into the river's eternal breath. I am home. The house rises before me, not as it is now, but as it was then. Newer, polished, alive with firelight. And she is there. Knock. She runs toward me, her arms open, her voice breaking with joy. The child in her sling stirs, lets out a faint cry, the only time I have ever heard it make a sound. Fua, she calls, her laughter a song, her face shining with tears. I know I should not step forward. I know this is not my life, but the warmth of her arms, the way she looks at me, it tears me in two. When she touches me, the world folds. Her skin is cold as the river, but her embrace is everything my body has ever longed for. The baby's cry rises, louder now, shrill, piercing, and then the firelight flickers, twisting shadows across her face. Her eyes turn black, her arms lengthen, stretching, bones groaning as they twist. The baby stops crying, its head lolling back at an angle no living child could survive. She does not let go. She pulls me closer, her mouth against my ear. You will not leave me again. The house trembles. The firelight shatters. The world collapses back into the dark room, the damp bed, the buzzing fan, but her arms are still around me, and for the first time, I cannot tell which world is the dream and which is real. July 28th, 6:50 a.m. The whole village knows now. They have seen me stumble through the lanes at dawn, clothes soaked, eyes hollow. They whisper not behind my back anymore, but openly fear bending their voices. The landlord will not let me return to my room. He drags me instead to the temple courtyard, where monks lay out bowls of water, lotus blossoms, and long strips of white cloth. Smoke rises from bundles of incense, heavy, choking, clinging to my hair and skin. Uncle Presert presses his palms together, tears cutting tracks through the wrinkles of his face. She will not stop, he says. If we do not break her hold, you will be taken forever. The eldest monk kneels before me. His eyes are sharp, his voice steady. Tonight, we will seal her. You must not look. You must not speak. If you answer, she will bind you again. I nod. I try to nod, but inside, my chest knots with something I do not expect. Because I see her, even here, under the temple's bright roof, among chanting monks and sacred offerings. She waits at the edge of my vision, Mae Nak, swaying with her child, her eyes fixed on me alone, not hateful, not vengeful, longing. The word Phua hums inside me, not from her lips, but from mine. Husband. The monk's hand grips my shoulder, anchoring me back. You must remember who you are. But do I? When I close my eyes, I feel her arms around me, the warmth of her laughter before it rotted into song. I see a life I might have lived, a promise I might have broken. They want to cut her away. But part of me wonders, what if she is right? What if leaving her is the mistake? Not staying, the chanting begins again. Rolling through the courtyard like thunder, the white cloth is tied around my wrists, my ankles, my chest, and in the smoke, in the hum of voices, her lullaby cuts through, soft and sharp. You are mine. My heart answers before my mouth does. July 28th, 11:59 p.m. The courtyard is a furnace of smoke and chant. Candles burn low, their wax bleeding down brass bowls. Monks circle me, voices rising, weaving prayers into nets of sound. White cloth binds my chest, my wrists, my ankles. I am anchored in place, a man-shaped knot waiting to be unmade. The air trembles. The gecko shrieks once from the rafters, then goes silent. And then her song, not outside, not in the distance. Here, in the circle of light, inside the chants themselves, wrapping around them, warping them. The lullaby curls through the incense, through my lungs, through the string that binds me. The monks chant louder. One throws holy water across my chest, cold as knives. The string bites deeper into my skin. I see her, Mae Nak, stepping out of the shadows. Her face is pale as the moon, her hair slick with river water, dripping into the earth. The bundle in her arms shifts, heavy, twitching, as though something inside claws at the cloth. Her eyes lock onto mine, not with rage, not with hunger, but with a love so fierce it feels like drowning. Fu, she whispers. The cloth on my wrists loosens. The chants blur into meaningless thunder. I should resist. I should shut my eyes. But my lips move before my mind can stop them. The courtyard gasps. The monks break their rhythm, some stumbling, some clutching at their robes. Uncle Presert wails, falling to his knees. Mae Nak smiles. Her teeth are too many, too sharp, but her smile is soft, tender. She steps closer, through the barrier, through the circle, as if the chants were smoke all along. She touches my face, cold, final. The bundle in her arms falls open. Not a child, never a child. A bundle of river stones, slick and black, thudding against the earth. They scatter across the courtyard like bones. She leans close. Her lips brush my ear. You are mine, always. The candles die. The chants collapse. The night swallows everything. They say the monks tried to finish the ritual, but it was too late. They say my voice joined hers in the lullaby, echoing across the river until dawn. And some nights, when the village is still, the people of Phra Khanong swear they see two figures by the water, a woman in silk, holding nothing, and the man she waited for, finally home. Some stories end when the candles burn out. Others never end at all. In Phra Khanong, they still whisper her name, Mae Nak, the ghost wife who loved too deeply to let go, the spirit who waited by the river until love itself rotted into a curse. And now, they say she does not wait alone. On nights when the water is high and the moon leans low, villagers claim they hear two voices by the riverbank. One soft, one broken, singing a lullaby that no living child should ever hear. Some believe it is only her. Others swear a man stands beside her, his eyes lost, his hand clasped in hers. They say once she finds you, she never lets you go. Not even death will cut her grip. So if you ever walk the banks of Phra Khanong at midnight, and you hear a woman humming a lullaby, calling softly into the dark, don't look, don't answer, and above all, don't believe she isn't singing to you.